Some of you may not know this, but for the past year or so, I've been on a mission. I've been asking sommeliers both in person and online to tell me their secrets. Now, some of them are pretty innocent and some of them are actually quite dark and nasty. So please make sure to watch part 1 to this video, which I posted just a while ago, to learn about all of them.
First of all, what a sad world would that be if there was no wine? Quite honestly, I have no intention of stopping drinking wine anytime soon. This is for fun only.
Of course, sommeliers are professionals with deep knowledge and passion for wine, but just like any industry, there are some trade secrets that they're just not readily sharing with public. So in this video, I've collected 15 insider insights to tell you the secrets, the trade secrets of sommeliers coming from the source themselves. So keep on watching. The very first insider trick that sommeliers shared with me that they do is what I call the second cheapest bottle trick. And what happens here is because a lot of times people try to avoid ordering the cheapest bottle on the menu, restaurants and sommeliers will make the second cheapest bottle of wine the most overpriced bottle to max out on the profit. So it does indeed happen a lot of times. So if you have a feeling looking at the menu that that may be the case, check the price online and maybe choose a different bottle for yourself. The second insider insight that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is buy the glass upsell. So ordering wine by the glass is almost always a worse deal than buying a bottle, but some restaurants will actually move slow selling wines to the by the glass service just to move that inventory. Be on the lookout for that. The next thing that sommeliers don't necessarily want for you to know is that most markups are simply ridiculous. Wine markups in restaurants can be 3 to 5 times the retail price. That $15 bottle of wine from a store might cost $60+ on the wine list. Additionally, when you ask for a recommendation, a sommelier or some sommeliers may actually steer you towards the priciest bottle that will fit your taste, simply because you sounded unsure when you were ordering it or asking for it. So just be on the lookout for that as well and be very careful. However, also remember that this is how most restaurants actually make money. Those bar prices and liquor prices, wine prices is something that contributes a ton towards the profit of a restaurant. So it is absolutely normal for, 100% markup, 200% markup on the price. But when it gets a little too crazy, that's where I recommend for you to maybe check with online prices or just choose something different from the menu if available. Another sommelier secret that they don't really want for you to know is that not all old vintages are actually great. Some restaurants push older wines to make them sound very special, but not all wines age well. So most white wines and lighter red wines as well are much better when they're young, and this is how they're meant to be consumed. So those older vintages might just be a kind of overflow of some old unsold stock that the restaurant has that they're now presenting as this older vintage and selling for a higher price. Again, just something to be mindful of. The next sommelier secret that is a bit of a piggyback off a previous point of mine is that the pricier wine doesn't always mean better quality. You can 100% find a $40 bottle of wine that will taste better than a $150 bottle of wine, especially when you know what to look for. So ask the right questions and don't just go solely by the higher price thinking that that wine necessarily is better. The next secret that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is that you can sometimes bring your own bottle to a restaurant. Many restaurants allow bring your own bottle with a corkage fee, which could still be cheaper than buying from their list. And some restaurants even allow that corkage fee to be waived on special nights. So what I recommend for you to do is call the restaurant and check ahead before you actually bring that bottle with you to a restaurant. And you may be in luck and you may be able to save some money and have the wine with you that you actually enjoy drinking. Now, I will tell you this, where and when I use this a lot of times is when I look up a wine list or a menu from a restaurant that I'm going to, and I just don't see anything that I like, or if I see that the wine list from a restaurant I'm going to is just awful, that's when I will make a call to your restaurant and I will ask very nicely, do you actually allow a bring your own bottle service? And if they say yes, I'll surely grab one of the bottles from my wine fridge and bring it with me instead of just ordering something I don't want to drink from their menu. The next point that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is that house wines on the menu are most often the worst deal that you can get from that restaurant. And this is really a known fact to a lot of people, but house wines are usually just the highest margin wines and they don't have a good quality behind them. So instead, I would recommend that you ask for a good value wine bottle recommendation from the restaurant staff and avoid ordering house wines, at least in the United States. Hey guys, if you've made it this far in the video and you're learning something new today, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and then also consider subscribing to my channel for weekly wine wisdom coming your way. The next secret that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is that blind tasting isn't really magic after all. While sommeliers can often identify regions, grape varieties, and styles, no one is infallible, and best tasters out there still make mistakes and get things wrong. Moving right along, the next thing that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is that many wine descriptions are really just marketing. Phrases like hand-harvested or old vines, they all sound very fancy, but don't always indicate better quality. And some of those terms are really there just to make you feel better about the choice you're making. One more thing that sommeliers don't really want for you to know is that sniffing and swirling isn't always necessary. I mean, look, it looks very sophisticated and sometimes it's indeed needed, in my opinion. You don't have to do it every single time, especially when you order some casual wines for the table that are not just fancy wines, So think twice before you sniff and swirl or, in whichever order you want to do that, because a lot of sommeliers actually do it just for the show. Now, I will add on to this, just saying that when you order a bottle for the table and the waiter or a sommelier pours you a little bit and offers it to you before pouring that wine for everybody else, you don't actually have to taste it. Some people do, I do sometimes as well, but technically speaking, when they pour that little tiny bit from the new bottle that they open for you, that's really for you just to see if the wine is faulted, if it's bad, in other words. So smelling it is often enough to be able to say if that wine is faulty and send it back or request a different bottle. So you don't actually need to taste that wine when they pour it for you, but you can if you want to. The next sommelier trade secret that they don't necessarily want for you to know is that natural wine doesn't always mean better wine. Now, natural wine is very trendy, but it can really be a hit or miss. Some are fantastic and others are flawed and a little funky. So just because they're all minimal intervention wines doesn't necessarily mean that they're better. Now, I really stand by this next sommelier trade secret, and I call it the hidden gem test. And what I mean by this is, if you want a great value bottle, ask the sommelier or the waiter for something off the beaten path, like a lesser known region, for example. So say, instead of a Chardonnay, ask for a Greek Assyrtiko. Something interesting. They know what the best value bottle is in the cellar that they have in a restaurant, but they won't offer it to you unless you ask for it. So just explore a little bit. Talk to your sommelier, talk to the waiter, and ask them for something off the beaten path instead. Now, I will be a broken record about this next point. And that point is the secret, the sommelier secret that they don't want for you to know is that food pairings with wine are meant to be broken. Yes, I said it again, and I talk about this all the time. Listen, I do believe that there are some classic food and wine pairings that exist, no doubt about that. But ultimately, I think you should just drink and eat what you like. So if you like, I don't know, Cabernet Sauvignon with, say, oysters, does it sound weird to some wine lovers? Absolutely, it does. But if this is what you like, please have that. So I think that enjoyment and your personal satisfaction is just so much more important than the classical rules of pairing food and wine. Wine and food are meant to be enjoyed, so do just that. Keep those rules in mind, but remember they are meant to be broken. The next sommelier trade secret that they don't really want for you to know is the mystery bottle trick, what I call. So some places have an off-menu wine list. Yes, the whole list. Or they can offer unique bottles that just aren't listed on the main menu. A lot of times those bottles are actually amazing quality, and they can be a much better bargain for the money that you're paying than anything off the normal list. Now, the last sommelier secret that they don't want for you to know is that they judge you for your order, but they just won't say it. So you ordered a super expensive bottle of wine and then you ordered a well-done steak. Well, they're probably judging you, but they won't say it. They will smile and pour you that wine, no problem. And just like in part 1 of this video, I will give you a couple of tricks on how to ultimately outsmart a sommelier. So here we go. Number 1, look at the bottom of the list. So restaurants push the middle section wines because that section just catches people's attention. So the best value wines are often lower down on the menu where people rarely look. Number 2, don't fall for famous name wines, please. You will indeed pay more for Napa and Bordeaux and Burgundy when lesser known regions often offer similar quality at a fraction of the price. And then check retail prices before splurging. If you're eyeing a high-end bottle of wine, do a quick research. It will tell you if it's a good deal or if it's massively overpriced. I personally like using apps like Vivino, and this is not a sponsored video, but this is an app that I usually use. And I quickly plug in the bottle that I'm about to buy off the menu, especially if it's more expensive. And not only that I see what that bottle usually retails for, it also has a ton of reviews from wine lovers on that bottle, an overall rating, and some tasting notes as well. So something that most menus won't have for you. So, do your own research. There are a ton of wine apps available right now, but Vivino is the one that I currently use, or you can just Google a bottle of wine and see whether it's actually a good deal or the wine that you want to order after all. And this is everything for today's video, you guys. As always, quick disclaimer. Sommeliers, if you're watching this video, utmost respect for you and for everything that you do. This video is just for fun, and all the points listed in this video were received by me from the fellow sommeliers and wine enthusiasts who work in the industry, whether it's in person or online. I just collected the responses that I got. So if you know about any sommelier secrets that they don't want us to know, please list them in the comments down below. I'm always curious to know what you guys find interesting and a little bit unusual. So please leave those comments down there and then subscribe if you haven't yet. Until I see you next time, cheers everyone.